各位朋友，大家好。
Hello, Dharma friends. Today we'll continue with learning Garchen Rinpoche's Guru Yoga. So in Guru Yoga, there are the preliminary practices part, and we've already talked about that part. We've talked about the common preliminary practices as well as the uncommon preliminary practices, and especially bodhicitta and refuge. All of these we have already learned. Today, what we're going to learn is the main practice of Guru Yoga. First, in the practice of Guru Yoga, the method is, there are many different methods in Vajrayana. Today, according to Garchen Rinpoche's liturgy here, it is more based on the mind, the nature of your mind. That is the ultimate Guru Yoga. That is practicing on the nature of mind itself. My own mind, luminous and void, appears as a sphere of rainbow-colored light, in the center of which is the glorious Guru, the essence of self-knowing awareness. So this line on page 4, what it means is that actually Garchen Rinpoche had given teachings on this. So usually in our practice, when we are doing the developmental stage, there are two different ways. One will be to visualize the self, the other is to visualize the mandala in front of us. Over here, what Rinpoche is teaching is that there shouldn't be any kinds of fabrication. So that is, we're not thinking of self or other. There is no discrimination or no separation between the self and others. So we are practicing based on our mind's luminosity and emptiness. These two words, luminosity and emptiness, what they mean is that they represent our mind. That is the union between emptiness and clarity. So in the past, the great masters have said that the mind is both empty and clarity. Once we understand this clarity, this awareness of our mind, so that is the meaning of it. So when we're practicing now, we need to have some kind of recognition and experience of this in our practice. When we're able to do that, then the effect of our practice would be better. So in Mahamudra, there are also the use of these terminology. In Dzogchen as well. So these are just words, terminology. For a true practitioner, we must base our practice on a kind of understanding of these. Then it will be more effective. So in the past masters and Khenpos and all of the teachings, and they have taught emptiness and clarity through dohas, different types of songs and teachings. So there are many different teachings on it. However, from my own view, for practitioners, there are different types of practitioners. We have the lesser kinds of capacity, the middling kinds, as well as the supreme kinds of capacity. Those of a lesser capacity, practitioners of a lesser capacity, how they understand emptiness and clarity.
Gampopa 大师，所以这个 Gampopa 大师的这个著作里面
I've read that in Gampopa's writing, a very short one-page writing. There, Gampopa had said that, had talked about the understanding or recognition of emptiness and clarity. And it had definitely had a great impact on me, that teaching from Gampopa. So sometimes some disciples, they come to me and ask me, how do we practice? Or some elderly ladies will also approach me and ask me. And then I'll use Gampopa's teaching, the analogy, to teach them. So Gampopa in the past, in Tibetan, in Gorkha, the name of that place, when he was practicing there in Tibet, at that time there was a householder, an old grandma was practicing there. So that old grandmother came and made some offerings of food to Gampopa. So the old grandma became like a sponsor. And so Gampopa's teaching for the grandmother is that he used really ordinary, simple language to explain emptiness and clarity of the nature of our mind. Gampopa told the grandmother, Grandmother, throughout all of this time, we have been focusing our mind outside. We're always concerned with what other people are doing, how they're like, or we are very concerned about the different sense objects. And then we analyze everything that's outside of the mind, external to us. And we've never truly, really looked at our mind. So please look at your mind. What is your mind like? You're able to think of so many things. So think of what your eyes can see, what your ears can hear. Everything appears so clearly. It seems as if you know everything. That is the clarity aspect of the mind. However, old grandmother, think again, contemplate again. This mind that is so clear, that is able to think and see everything so clearly, where does this arise from? So try to look for that. Now, all of our thoughts that arise, where do they abide? So where do the thoughts abide in? And when they disappear, where do they disappear to? So when you contemplate in this way and understand in this way, then you'll be able to see that you cannot find anywhere that it arises, our mind arises from, or where it disappears to. So there's no place from which it is born, and there's no place to which it ceases. You're not able to say exactly where. You're not able to find it and think where. And that is the emptiness aspect of the mind. So if you think further, this clarity and emptiness, are they half-half or not? So, or are both one? So if you think about it, emptiness is clarity, clarity is emptiness. So, old grandmother, when you think about this, within your house, when you think of your mind, you'll be able to see emptiness and clarity. And when you go out of your house, when you think of the mind is also emptiness and clarity. So if you consistently take care of your mind, if you learn how to look at the mind, then gradually you'll be able to understand this idea, and that is that the mind is the union of clarity and emptiness. And when you're able to abide in this kind of understanding, then you will improve and you'll be able to liberate yourself. So that was the teaching that Gampopa gave that old grandmother. And from my own experience, I feel that for us beginners, for us who are lesser beings, I feel that this teaching is extremely beneficial and useful. And that is why I wanted to share the story with all of you here. So based on this union of clarity and emptiness, so from emptiness, you'll be able to see the clarity or the luminosity, and then this clarity can manifest itself in many, many different ways. Because right now we're able to perceive anything and everything. So what we're able to visualize here, or what we are visualizing here, is a sphere of rainbow-colored light. So it is like a tent even, or like a mandala. And so we visualize that within the emptiness and clarity. So this rainbow-colored light, what it means is a manifestation of clarity and emptiness from a different aspect or perspective. What is a special characteristic of clarity? It is that all phenomena can arise from clarity. It is like a mirror within which anything can be seen or reflected. From that perspective, we see within clarity and emptiness there are 5 wisdoms. There is the wisdom of the great mirror. So that is the special aspect of the clarity. Within this emptiness and clarity, everything is equal. There is no dualism. There's no one is better, the other is not. There's no differentiation like that. So there is that kind of equality or equanimity. But when different manifestations arise, you'll be able to see it very clearly within that mirror, that clarity. It has that ability. That is why it is kind of another wisdom of the 5. So within that, whatever beneficial activities that we do, then we'll be able to manifest another kind of wisdom. So within all of these, emptiness cannot be separated from all of these. And so we have the 5 wisdoms. We have the wisdom of suchness, wisdom of mirror-like awareness, wisdom of sameness or equality, wisdom of the uniqueness of dharma, witness of accomplishment of activities. So all of these are actually manifestations of the 5 wisdom. And so from my perspective, this is the manifestation of our 5 wisdoms. And when that manifests, we would have the white, yellow, red, green, and blue lights, these 5 lights. And that will be the 5 colors that manifest the 5 wisdoms. So like the 5 colors, the rainbow colors, like when we visualize this rainbow colored light, what it means is really the symbolism, or what it symbolizes is the 5 wisdoms. So in the line that says the essence of self-knowing awareness, we ourselves are the union of self and the union of clarity and emptiness. We know that. We know the characteristics of clarity and emptiness within us. So if we don't know that the nature of our mind is clarity and emptiness, then what kind of awareness do we have then? Then it will be ignorance. The moment we're able to recognize the nature of our mind, we'll be able to purify our ignorance. Then what it transforms into is wisdom, the embodiment of wisdom. And this wisdom, in Dzogchen, we refer to it as Rigpa. And sometimes Rigpa is translated into awareness, and sometimes it's translated into knowing and awareness. So what it really means is that one knows one's own wisdom. One recognizes one's own nature of mind. Once you recognize the nature of your mind, then you'll be able to purify your ignorance. Without knowing it, then you'll be in darkness, you'll be ignorant. But the moment you recognize that, you'll be able to purify that ignorance. So this is really based on the wisdom that comes from the recognition of one's mind, that it is clarity and emptiness. And in doing so, we will be able to cut all afflictions and attain a perfect wisdom. So in Tibetan, Buddha is Sangye. Sang meaning to remove or purify, to be free from all kinds of ignorance. What it means is also to develop, to open up. And it opens up the light of wisdom, or it blossoms like a blossoming wisdom flower. So in this line, it talks about the aspect or characteristic of this wisdom. And what this is really our root guru. So we know or understand our own wisdom, and that this wisdom is, in fact, our guru. So now when we visualize, from my own perspective, this is from the perspective of the Dharmakaya. That is how this is being taught. So in the next line on page 5 of the liturgy, naked and without adornment, he is dressed in unrugged pants and a meditation belt. With joyful expression, he looks upon beings with love. So what the Dharmakaya is that it is emptiness. There is no form. But in Vajrayana, this is really a skillful means to enable us to be able to train our mind. So our mind itself has no form. But here, as part of the skillful means, it transforms into a kind of rainbow-colored sphere. And within that rainbow-colored sphere is where wisdom manifests as our guru. So our guru, in this case, Garchen Rinpoche, we visualize Garchen Rinpoche. So what it means here, when it talks about naked and without adornment, so he's not wearing any dharma clothes or any kinds of clothing that you'd see in a Sambhogakaya Buddha. So it is completely naked and completely free from any adornment. So usually for Sambhogakaya Buddhists, you'd be able to see like earrings, bangles, all kinds of necklaces, all kinds of adornments. But today, in our visualization of our guru, he's naked and without any adornments. So completely naked, no adornments. So we visualize him in this way. And on his lower body, he's dressed in some kind of skirt-like pants and also a meditation belt. So you visualize in this way. So when we visualize in this way, we might think, oh, when we visualize other Buddhas or other deities, they are dressed in different pieces of clothing and wearing all kinds of adornments. They may be wearing fur and so forth. So today, when we visualize our guru, why is it that we're visualizing him as naked? Why? This is because, from my perspective, that's what I think. This clarifies an important point. And the point is that this is the manifestation of Dharmakaya. Usually in the tankas that we see, when we're drawing the Samantabhadra Buddha, he is naked. Similarly, this visualization is free from any fabrication and free from any influences of worldly influences. So based on wisdom, it is how wisdom allows us to directly perceive this. That is what I think. So why do we need to understand it in this way? There's also a story to tell for this. The Jetsun Milarepa, when he went to a particular mountain to practice, after he was done with his practice, he returned to Chunga, name of a place. There was a young girl and so they tried to clarify some of the doubts that they have. They tried to clarify the doubts with Milarepa. So usually we say that this Mount Kailash is a great mountain because it is a great mountain, and it is not a mere snowy mountain. But then but one might think or say that, oh, it is just a mountain. But when we look at what's happening in the story, we have a very old man, Milarepa, who isn't really properly clothed and may not look like one who is great at the mind training, and he doesn't even eat very well. He eats food that is only suitable for a beggar, and when he gives teaching, he just sings some songs. So this young girl would say that, oh, you don't look like anyone great. So Milarepa. So over here for the story, we've got to explain. Because otherwise, these girls, we would think that, oh, these girls would be creating some negative karma through speech. So for a yogi, the yogi has his or her own way of living, and so we've got to explain to others about our lifestyle, the yogi's lifestyle. So Milarepa sang to the girls and explained to the girls that, oh, we are not properly clothed and all that, and that is because we are free from any kinds of dualism. Once we've attained this state of being free from grasping to the dualism, and I don't have any of the 8 worldly needs, so I don't need to be clothed so well. So that is how Milarepa explained to the young girls. And as for the food that we eat, it's only like for beggars, but when we eat it, right, we're also okay because we are contented. We don't have desire for any other things. So Milarepa explained in this way. So in the past, there are many great masters in India. They too are not properly clothed. So today, from this Dharmakaya manifests our Guru, and that is why we visualize our Guru in this way. As for the skirt-like pants, the angrek pants, from my perspective, from my understanding, it may not be accurate, but it is from my perspective. When we visualize our Guru wearing the skirt-like pants, usually when we're practicing Naropa, the 6 dharmas of Naropa, when we do that practice, there are also the 3 colors, and the 3 colors represent the Pratnanadi Bindu. Or it might also represent the 3 kayas. So there's that meaning. So today, from my understanding, I think that the Guru manifests as the Dharmakaya Buddha, and within him, he holds the 3 different vows, and that is the Pratishtha Moksha vows, the Bodhisattva vow, as well as the Vajrayana vow. And then as for the meditation belt, what it means is that at every moment he is resting in the nature of his mind. And that is how he attains the highest level of stability, of meditative concentration. This is from my perspective, from my experience. So if people were to ask me, what are the great characteristics of your Guru? Then I would say, my Guru holds vows. My Guru holds stability, abiding. My Guru has wisdom. These are the characteristics of my Guru. So that is how I understand these 2 lines here. That is how I see what my Guru is. That is the meaning of these 2 lines. This line. Now for the next line. With joyful expression, he looks upon beings with love. And it is really this way. So we visualize our Guru smiling. What it represents is our Guru's loving kindness, his love for sentient beings. So the Guru is looking at all sentient beings with loving kindness and compassion. He sees the suffering of all sentient beings and wants to liberate them from their suffering. So his facial expression represents the Guru's loving kindness and compassion. And that is what I believe in my mind, and also from my experience. And so that is it for today's teaching. Thank you all, Dharma friends.